Greetings, everyone. Dr. Annette West, Publishing Pusher here. Thanks for joining me in the JetName, Publishing, Talking All Things Books. Yes, the operative words, all things. I'm excited you're here. You listen in, share your thoughts. You don't have to be live on the screen to be able to talk. And I want you to know your success is my business. I'm here to assist you, support, empower, inspire as we pull out those thoughts to get these books accomplished. Thanks again for joining me.
All right, everybody, we are ready to get started. I am Dr. Annette West. This is Talking All Things Books, Q&A. And we started last week talking about AI in publishing, and we will be covering more content from that subject as well on today. Or rather today. It's not on today, it is today. I say that every time. But I will be all right. But it is good to see everyone. Thank you so much. Our Talking All Things book is now on the Publishing Pusher Network. Well, not network, but on Publishing Pusher. It is a part of the Publishing Pusher podcast now. And so we're now getting those parts out. So when I don't have anyone to interview in a week, then we will be repurposing this content as well. So I'm sure it is reaching. Jerry Royce from the network said the numbers are really high with people listening. And that's what we want, is for people to get the insights that they are in need of. I'm going to put this on gallery view. Here we go. Good to see you, Miss Anna, today. The Coach Up podcast that she's going to tell us about. Yes. I thought she was already on here. Let me see. See if I can get, let's see, there we go. Miss Anna.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. As I often say when Dr. West gives me an opportunity to give you an update, as I listen to each of you talk about ways that you share your gifts, but also promote your services, I decided to go ahead and give it a try and start what now I'm calling a Coach Up podcast. And in this setting, I've begun by interviewing those contributors to the Robertson Story family trilogy. And it's been a challenge. I respect those of you who do this regularly, particularly with those who do not know the terminology. When we talk about turn on your mics, turn on this, turn on that. And for those who are uncomfortable talking into a camera when they're supposed to look like they're talking to a person. And so I'm understanding a little better why you practice ahead of time before you turn on the cameras. But giving credit where credit is due to Dr. West and to Coach Crystal Henry, whom I met on this station, we will be reviewing and recording our second monthly program this Sunday, and she calls it Read, Write, Lead Cast, where we talk about the value of personal reading, personal writing to be better public leaders. So thank you for giving me a chance to give a update and a confession. I'm not as ready as I thought I was, but I'm going to keep coming so I can be better prepared to do the Coach Up podcast.
And I tell you, even when you think you're getting good at it, something else is going to come up that you're going to be like, I need to integrate this. I need to figure this out. I need to do this. You know, there's so many things that we can do. to just have this vibrant and all of the things popping out in your podcast. But those are things that take time. If we press ourselves too hard to try to get all of these things at the beginning, we're going to be burnt out. I'm just telling us the way that it really is. So we have to just prioritize. And even though those things may sound good and look good, it's not the timing. Timing isn't it right now. And just know that. And always say, getting it done is better than doing nothing. So get started. Miss Anna Roseborough, Coach Up podcast. She has gotten started. Listen, she's going to look at her podcast this week or whenever she's doing it. And next year when she look at, she's going to see how she has grown, because that's what happens when we continue to stay in the process. We begin to keep developing more tools that we add to our repertoire. And then we get stronger in what we are doing. It's not just Miss Anna, is Dr. Annette as well. Okay. So I'm just telling you, it is nothing new. And we just have to take our time. Don't stress ourselves out on what we're doing. Don't think that, oh, we see what they have. Oh, no, that's what they're doing. God's going to lead us if we pay attention to him, to what we are supposed to be doing. And if we stay in our own pocket, guess what? We can't go wrong. If we try to veer off into somebody else's lane and what they're doing, then guess what? We're going to wind up trying to do something somebody's doing, and we're going to get stuck, locked up. And that's not going to be beneficial to our process. So thank you so much, Miss Anna. And yay, Coach Up. Not down, y'all. Coach Up podcast. Yes, I saw some comments. Let's see what we have. Oh, let's see. Excuse me. Oh, okay. Miss Anna posted her flyer, Read, Write, Lead. This is the podcast that Crystal Henry and Miss Anna Roseborough are doing monthly. I missed when it was initially posted, and then I saw a reminder, and I went in and I listened to the podcast, and the podcast was great. And I was sitting there thinking, oh, why didn't I think of this? And why didn't I think of this? And the Lord said, but that's not what you're doing. Okay. That's what they're doing. But this is great, because every time we show up, we do get to see something more. We get to experience something more, and we get to hear things from a different perspective than our own. So this is a good thing. Let's see. Okay, got that. Okay. That was Angela's AI assistant. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, and Written Word Publishing, Mel V said, congratulations, Anna. I could see the exclamation mark, yay. And Minister Angela said, congrats on starting it, because that's it. And then she said, yes, keep going. Keep going. That's it. Start and keep going. Do what you do, because you're going to be thinking, oh, I messed up. And somebody said, oh, that was really good. That's what happens.
Well, I say, shout out to Melvise. We heard about doing the mailing list, and it was she who said, let's work together. And I can say that once I began using the mailing list that she and I compiled, I'm getting over 600 hits a week. Not 600, over 150 hits a week. Now I've got to have something for them to hit. And so that's part of what the podcasts are doing. They'll go on the website as well. But because of people here are willing to collaborate, more of us are able to do things we probably would not have tried before.
Miss Anna, you have so much content that you share anyway. Writing pieces, editorial pieces, great content. So those would be some great elements as well. Don't share them all on the other platforms, but then let people know, hey, you can get this week in your news, when you're emailing your group. This week you can get information on this. You already have it. You're just sharing it with them. Yep. Repurpose, because just because I saw it don't mean they saw it. And just because I saw it don't mean I remember what I saw. Y'all know that one, right? We're like, it's like this pastor. he said he preached the same exact revival message every year. Because God didn't tell him to change it. And guess what? People that have been coming every year be like, wow, that was a great message. I never heard that. Oh, that's just the way it is. So reiteration is a great thing. Keep doing it. Keep at it. Minister Angela, how's your project coming? And that's good, Minister Angela. She said, faith comes by hearing, and hearing, we know the rest.
I'm getting more stuff off my plate. Like I ended up withdrawing from grad school so that I can focus because I just got too much going on. I need to narrow my focus. So yes, I will be doing more with that. Yep.
And that's one of the things that's very wise and is on hold. Step back doesn't mean you won't get back to it, but right now you know the things that you need to get off your plate before you move to the next level. I had signed up, oh my gosh, I know a year and a half ago for this publishing certificate, and I totally forgot that I had paid for it and signed up for it. You know, that's bad, right? So I finally, with a reminders, a year and some later, reminded me that my time was going to be ending soon. I think it's 1st of April or the end of March or something like that. So in December, I went in and I looked at it and I was like, oh, they got quizzes. They have quizzes with each module. Oh, quizzes. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm already self-publishing. Let me see if I can answer the questions without reading the book, is what I did. So I went through each quiz and I answered the questions. It was 12 questions on each quiz, and I think it was like six, well, it had to be more than six quizzes, had to be more than six chapters because the final exam wound up being 51 questions. One was you actually had to write written content, and then the others were multiple choice. So I figured I should know something about self-publishing after all of these years. So I went through and I took all the quizzes, and I missed a few, and they had some different terminology than terminology that I normally hear used. Like we might say book coach because it was a faith-based, they called it a book shepherd. I was like, what the heck? A book shepherd. But anyway, that was their terminology. So there was some really good stuff, cost benefit analysis, stuff that I already knew. So that was good. So I went through and I took all of those quizzes. And then the ones that I got wrong, I went back and I, reviewed those. And then I just decided last week to just take the test. And it said you have two times to take the test. So I took the test and I got a 90 on it. I was happy with that 90. I was happy with the 90, but I was at getting near the point where I was going to lose out on what I had invested in. And it was one of the things Melvisa and I was talking about. I have some book clients that haven't met their goals, and trying to push them to the finish line without having to charge them more, because time is money. And yes, Miss Anna, she said, congratulations. Good to know that experience teaches too. Yes. And, trying to find ways to keep our people motivated in the process. And one of the things that I'm going to have to do for myself is give tighter requirements. And people just going to have to work hard to meet those goals, because we can't We can't just have people on our agenda forever. If that's the case, then sign up for like a coaching program or something where you pay every month or something like that. So it can be very cumbersome sometimes, some of the things that we as publishers have to work with, but we learn as we go along. And this is why contracts are very important in our processes. I just wanted to say a little bit about that. Okay, so last week, our topic was how AI is transforming the publishing industry. How AI is transforming the publishing industry. And last week, I talked about AI in writing and AI in editing. So you'll need to go and listen to last week's video. Yeah, for that. And today, this is something that's near and dear to my heart that also falls under the AI in editing portion that I didn't cover last week is plagiarism detection. Plagiarism detection. I love that my schools that I teach for, they are on it. You know, like they got the plagiarism, but they also have the AI detection as well. Now, it's not fully accurate, but it does give us some insight that would help us to look closer at certain areas in our students' content, or in as from the publishing perspective, in our authors, our writers' content, to see consistency of flow, sentence structure. I found that there are some words that have been used in two of my students' writing that there's no way this would be in their vernacular. Like impossible. That's like a flag. And I had to actually go in and send this particular student, a message and say, hey, I reviewed your Turnitin report. I reviewed the AI report. The AI report says you have 44% possibly of content that is AI. I said, I can't say that 44% is accurate because it's not necessarily all, but I guarantee you a great portion in your assignment is AI content. And you did not know how to take a thought and recreate it and write it and align it with the content. So what I did for my student was I sent her a message. I wrote that in there. I said, I would like to meet with you. I would like to schedule a Zoom, and I would like to meet with you so that I can put your document up and we can talk about it. Now, she's not required to meet with me, okay? And as a courtesy, I said, meet with me. Do you think my student met with me? No. My student messaged me 2 days later and said, I figured it out. And I will be posting my assignment tonight. And when I looked at her assignment, guess what? Was it right or was it wrong? It was wrong. So then she actually did get a low grade because I gave her opportunity. But I don't know why my student was afraid to contact me. Well, I've already told you what the issue is. Miss Annie, you're going to say something?
When you finish, my daughter teaches intro writing at the local university, and she ran into this with a student whose English was not the student's first language. And during one of the one-on-ones, this student acknowledged, I write it myself, and then I uploaded to Chat GPT to make it sound like academic. So the writing ideas are mine, and I'm acknowledging this is how I get it to write the way you're looking for. And so I think it's really important that you invited the student to come and talk to you so that that student could understand the difference between using AI to think for you and using AI to rewrite for you. And so my daughter is trying to work with this particular student to understand that at some portions of the process, she would like to hear how this student writes for themselves, and then, develop a more academic language, but acknowledge it. So that's what Jet GPT is for, to help us. I need help writing academically. I know how to think. I don't know how to write yet.
That's it. And I really reached out to the student because I knew her name looked like she was from Nigeria or something. And I know how they are taught to write. But the fact that she did not reach back, that she did not connect with me to actually walk her through to get it right. So unfortunately, she will end the class and she'll pass the class barely. But she could pass the class and have learned some things to take with her to the next course. Now, I understand that, and I've had students to say to me when I send them a message, well, my other professor didn't have a problem with me doing this. I don't know your other professor. I'm just trying to adhere to the APA requirements, 7th edition, and follow the rules. That's my goal. So we can't talk about what the other professor did, or even if I have a client that is new and they came from another publishing company, I can't talk about that other publishing company because that was her experience or his experience with that company. Now let us create a new dynamic under this company. Any comments from anybody? But we have to make sure that see AI cross-references content with published works. So so that's how it determines, ooh, this percentage of your work is this. And when you go in, you can actually see the highlighted areas. You click the areas, it'll automatically show you and tell you. Now, does it necessarily mean that it's actually plagiarized? No, not necessarily, because there are some things that we just know that may be out in the social platforms, that may be out on the World Wide Web. So we know as publishers, we know as professors, we know how to look over those things, but we also know when things are not right. And then it is our goal to, to make sure that we are helping our clients, and from the professor standpoint, helping our students to be, I always try to remind my students, you represent the institution. When you go to look for a job or promotion and stuff, they're gonna be saying, what school did you go to? And you can't conjugate, your sentence structure is off, you have this and that. And they'd be like, oh no, we ain't hiring nobody from that school because we saw what one person spoiled the whole flow of what could happen good for some students. One student getting under this company and they was like, no, they didn't get it right. So just things that we need to be mindful of. So we have no excuse. We have no excuse not to ensure that our book content is unique before publication. Go ahead, Miss Anna.
And they want about acknowledging. If you borrowed it, just acknowledge it. It's not that you didn't write it, it's that you said you did and that you did not verify. That's one of the things that you walked through with us last week, how to verify what you get from Chat GPT. Because sometimes It's drawing from other published works that may not be correct. But that
Right.
idea of flow, again, another client with whom I'm working depends, I would say, too much on what she gets. But when we look at it together and she begins to see that this doesn't flow well with what you have written in your own words, how can we adapt this and give credit from where you got the idea? And so I'm finding that my coaching is becoming more teaching than the other one because, I hadn't thought of that. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I didn't know that was important. I didn't know that was illegal. And
Mm.
so, as we, as coaches and shepherds, uh, stay attuned to what is available to our clients and our students, it helps us to do a better job of helping them deal with what the reality of life is that you can get an AI something to write an entire book. You can put your name on it, but it won't be yours.
And guess what, Ms. Anna, you said, and it won't be yours because somebody gonna ask you some questions. I asked somebody something, they couldn't even answer the question that I asked them. How is this your work? And if it's your story, you know your story from the beginning to the end. But when it's not your story, you can't talk about it. You'll be showing up, but you'll be ineffective at what you're putting out. And people know real quick. People know real quick when what you're saying is not right. The next area that I want to talk about for this week is AI in marketing. You know, that wonderful marketing that people are like, I don't want to market. Oh no, I don't want to deal with money. I don't want to ask people for money. But guess what? AI in marketing. There are some great tools out here with AI-driven book descriptions and metadata that you can use. Amazon has some great AI tools that are available that you are able to see what others are doing in like profession. And when you know, you got something to work with. But if you don't know, you're making an assumption that just because you wanted to write a book, it's going to sell. And that's not necessarily true. And if you don't know how to target the right markets and get your book to the right places and people, nobody's going to know that you have that book. Listen, some of us probably been writing books for years and didn't do as much with them as we could have because we didn't know we could. We didn't know how. We didn't know that there's a pay to play out here, that you got to have some money to put out in order to do something, but you could reap some great benefits if you have the resources. So I don't have a poor mentality. So I never say, I don't have the money for this. I believe I do have the money for it if it's what God wants me to include in my process. So I will never cry broke. I will never cry poor because the God that I serve, he ain't poor. I did mean ain't. He ain't poor, okay? He's got everything that we need. We just got to align with him. So AI can help us to optimize our book descriptions. Critical because people want to see what's this book about. People don't just buy your book. Book descriptions. You know, with the book description, they can identify the most engaging phrases and keywords. So you give better visibility. If your bio does not belong on the back of your book. And I see people with their bio on the back of their book. And if you put your picture, fine, but they don't need to be half the page. And if you don't put your picture on the book, it's not going to make a difference. You got a page inside with your biography, okay, and your picture. So give the interested person some points about your book that would benefit them. How is this book going to benefit them? What phrases are going to speak to their mind, speak to their heart, speak to their situation and their circumstances. What are we able to put there that is going to them, that's going to help them to say, oh, this is, oh, and I don't know if you've ever done this. I said, oh, I need this book. After I read the description on the back, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be good. And then I would get the book and it would be good. Because guess what? Those points on the back of the book came from the inside of the book. If you know what you're doing and you're doing it right. So we want to utilize AI because it can help us, create better book descriptions, and it can help us learn about metadata as well as how to review metadata to help us to increase and build for our own publishing model. AI also helps with our personalized marketing. It can help us tailor our promotions based on reader behavior and preferences. When you go, like I said, Kindle, Amazon has some great KDP AI tools. Take the time. Listen, the only way we're going to learn is by doing what? Taking the time. And it does require time. So you might say, this week, I'm going to spend 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and I'm just going to focus on AI data on Amazon's KDP AI tools. Because if you just look at it one time, you could pretty much forget it. So you want to get enough inside that as you are building, you see how to apply it to what you are doing. And we can see what other people have already done and how their books are doing and how titles really do make a difference and how covers grab the reader's eye. We will be able to even see that looking at other people's works. For personalized marketing, we can also have marketing platforms that use AI that can recommend books, recommend to us what type of books are needed or required or requested for a specific audience. So if your book is about music, teaching music, the nursing home with the senior citizens, that's not going to be the place for that book. Now, you might know how to play music and then go in there and play the music for them, but they're not wanting to learn how to play an instrument at 70, 80, 90 years old, like talking about it. So making sure that we are where the correct audience is. If you do novels, people who like novels, they typically like a certain type of novel. Women who like romance novels, they are looking to see who's the next author with the next romance novel and who has the next series. That's what they're looking for. So you have to know who your audience is and what do they frequently read? What do they frequently purchase? And how do they purchase? And then that's going to give you some ideas of, oh, do they read on a Kindle? Do they do ebooks? Do they like hard copies because they like fancy hard books to put on their shelf? Or do they want a cheaper version because they just want the content in the book? So as you start digging in, you will gain the insight that you need to help you to build. Any comments?
The one that I would have at this point, again, with the client with whom I'm working, if you have a good idea that you plan to publish both a paperback and a hardback, know that if you're working with KDP, they have a very limited size that they do hardbacks. And so with this particular author, she did a family memoir, and the rest of the family wants a hardback for pretty much what you said. They want to have it to put on the family shelf, but they want a hardback, which means we're having to reformat the book to make it fit a size that KDP will accept. Thankfully, we can go to a larger book without having to reformat that much of the interior. It'll just give bigger margins, but it could make a difference depending on how the original book was formatted. So planning ahead will save some time later down the road.
Thank you. That is good. That's right. Because to think that it's going to be an automatic fit from one to the other, it never happens. Even moving your resource from KDP to Ingram Sparks, it will say you had a 6x9 over here on KDP, and it says there's a 6x9 over here in Ingram Sparks, but you will find out it is not exactly the same. There are variances, and there's going to be some fiddling that you're going to have to do to get it quite correct. So there is, and there's nothing wrong on either side. It's just the way it's set up. I had also, go ahead, Ms.
I'm
Anna.
glad you mentioned that because one of the writers with whom I'm working believes that she'll have a better market if she goes through Ingram than through KDP. And I know that both of them accept PDF. So I'm going to have to go on and see what are the subtle differences in uploading to KDP versus Ingram Sparks, so that when we get to that point in the process, I'll know how to coach her better. One of the things I'm doing, and I just send them, go to the site, read it yourself. I may miss something and you may pick up something and are working together. I don't claim I know it all. I know what I don't know, and I know that they can pick up things that are important to them that I may miss. But thanks for bringing that up. That's what I'll do when we get off today.
Melvise, go ahead, because I was going to say Melvise, they do most of their books through Ingram Sparks. Go ahead, Melvise.
Yes, there's Written Words Publishing. We use Ingram, so I have a lot of experience and knowledge of how their platform works. And I would say for your author who the family wants hardcovers, if they're just seeking to have hardcovers just for the family to purchase, and you're not looking to make them available for retailers, with Ingram, there's a way more variety of sizes that you can use or you can select for the hardcovers, and you can opt to just have the book available for you only to print. You don't have to distribute it. So you might want to look into that for their hardcover instead of having to reformat for KDP. The format you currently have may fit option in Ingram.
All right, I will check for that. And because at this point, as you picked up, they're looking to have the hard copy mainly for family. And if it's more economical and less time consuming to publish the hard copy. Now, does a hard copy need a new ISBN number?
So if you did you need a separate ISBN number for each version of the book? So the hardcover, the paperback, the ebook, they would all have different ISBN numbers, but you don't need an ISBN number if you're going to just do it for for you to print only. You can use the same. If you already released it on KDP for the public with that ISBN number and you try to put it in Ingram, it's going to say that ISBN number is already in use. So you would have to use a different one. But if you're just planning on using it just for the family only, you can get a free ISBN number from Ingram and use that ISBN number for the family print only version.
Okay. Will you, I will send a note after our meeting today to you to ask you to send me the link to that page, because this particular writer is going through the manuscript, checking on spelling of names. Some of the family names, she called them one thing, they called them something else. They spelled it one way. This is 4 generations. And so the spelling in one family may be different, even though they say it the same way. And so she's doing that kind of refining. But if I can get this information from you, Melvise, I can be better prepared for her when she's ready to go to the next step. And thank you so much.
Okay, you're
Letting me
welcome. And the
know
only
that option.
thing with Ingram, you have to for the cover, as long as you have the front cover graphic, for the full cover, you'll have to recreate it with the template on Ingram. You can't use the same full cover that you use on KDP because there's a different format. But other than that,
Mhm.
the interior file, you probably could use the same interior file.
Well, you know what? I may recommend that she come to you for this. Since you've had more experience with this, but we won't use our online time for this to discuss it. But I'll be
No,
in
no,
touch with
this
you,
is
Mel.
good.
Thank you for telling me the options that are available to this family and the fact that you've had experience with it. You can help me learn it so I can share it with them, or we can talk about what it would be for them to contract with you for this step in the process.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you, Written Word Publishing, Melvise. I appreciate that. And the last thing I want to share today under this AI and marketing is sales forecasting and pricing strategies. Yay! Something else that we kind of don't love, but anyway, but we can use AI to predict market trends. And in predicting the market trends, it can also suggest competitive pricing strategies that will be beneficial to us. AI, you have the ability to use AI to analyze past sales data to forecast demand for specific genres that you may be sharing. So an example could be, AI might predict an increase in a particular fiction area based on current reader trends. So when we take the time to really go in and look at the AI, we can get a better understanding of how we can utilize it to help us to build our brand more, to build our publishing companies more. And as individual authors who are self-publishers, build your own individual marketing flow. So all of it's accessible, readily available to us. We just have to go into the systems and take the time to go through to really pay attention to the content and see how we can best utilize it to help us to build and move forward. So those are my comments today on AI. So this would be part 2 of the how AI is transforming the publishing industry. So this will be part 2. So thank you everyone for coming in today, for sharing today. I appreciate you greatly. I like to end by saying, you are blessed to be a blessing. And if you serve King Jesus, then you are supposed to be the visible manifestation of his invisible presence. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next time by Miss Anna, by Melvise Written Word Publishing, by Minister Angela Simmons, and by Sharon Rand. Take care, everybody.